Well, the first thing you'll notice about a properly converted Baroque instrument is that the bridge height here doesn't really differ too much from a modern instrument. Sometimes you'll see converted instruments with very low bridges, and that doesn't usually give a very good sound. We have a lot of bridge patterns that we use. This one has the regular Stradivari pattern, but we use this is a different pattern from a German instrument, and we have this is from a Guarneri instrument. This is a later model bridge that's used for classical instruments that I'll talk about in a bit. And then we have a French model bridge. So for each type of instrument, whether it's French, German, or Italian, we use different bridges. That's one thing that you'll notice for something that's properly set up. The other thing you'll notice is the neck form is correct. That is, we use patterns taken from original instruments of this particular kind of neck form. And this is very difficult to get right without proper templates. The other thing, one other thing you'll notice is that we have an ebony-faced tailpiece with bone decoration, which is to match the age of the instrument. And the tailpiece has an applewood core to it. And that is because applewood's very strong and very elastic. The fingerboard has a spruce core with maple edges and an ebony face to match the tailpiece. And the nut is bone. A bone nut is very important for the sound, and it allows the gut strings to slide over very, very easily and stops the strings fraying. And that's a very difficult thing to do, to get the dynamics of the nut exactly correct. The other thing we do is we don't use commercial pegs, and we make our own pegs here in the shop. These are boxwood ones made after an English pattern, and they're appropriate for this kind of instrument. Yes, the other thing you'll notice is that the usual tail wire, which in modern instruments is made of nylon, here is gut, and this is red gut, which is a particular kind of treatment that stops it being affected by perspiration. A bone end button, which is also kind of unusual for modern instruments. They're usually ebony now. And the fitting of the gut, the way that it passes through the tailpiece is different. And because the way it passes through the tailpiece is different, then we have a lower saddle here. And it puts about the same angle to the bridge of the strings as a modern instrument, a tiny bit lower because the lower angle helps to project a little better with gut strings. One thing I forgot to mention was that this measurement here, which we call the overstand, that is the height that the neck projects over the body of the instrument. In a Baroque instrument, it's much lower. And I have thought a lot about why this is, but I think it's because the original necks were nailed in place. And if you nail the neck in place, it's not as strong as when the neck is set into the body, which they are on modern instruments. And so this overstand is just a few millimeters for this early date. It gets higher the later you get with these instruments, until by the classical period, when the necks are angled more backwards, that's after 1800, you get a higher overstand and a slightly higher projection on the bridge, because they were using thicker strings for projection in opera orchestras and things like that.